Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for October 24, 2022, the Ramaphosa Vows Crackdown edition. And we begin with that story from Barron's. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Sunday vowed to implement many of the recommendations made by a panel leading a graft probe into the mismanagement of state funds under his predecessor. The bill seeks to review the ethical standards of procurement of state tenders, banning ministers and board members from being involved in the procurement process. So, Ramaphosa promises once again. Proof will be in the pudding. Next up, in a story from Reuters, the Korean auto giant Hyundai is being investigating child labor in its U.S. supply chain. It plans to sever ties with certain suppliers in the great state of Alabama who have found to have relied on underage workers. So this is not the case of a foreign company using foreign child labor to build products to be sold in America. It's a foreign company using U.S. child labor to build its cars. A Reuters investigative report in July documented children as young as 12 worked in a Hyundai-controlled metal stamping plant in rural Alabama. So that really tells you probably all you need to know about employment law in Alabama. Next up, from the Financial Times, we continue to report on the massive cheating scandal in chess. And we find out that Hans Neumann, the 19-year-old chess grandmaster accused of cheating in a scandal that's shaken the game to its very foundations, has filed a lawsuit alleging damages of over $100 million from defendants, including the current reigning world champion. The suit claims libel, slander, civil conspiracy against the reigning champion, Magnus Carlsen, Chess.com, the popular online playing game venue, and another American grandmaster, Hakura Nakamura, a popular live streamer. So one thing you can say about Hans Neumann, he is always on the offensive. And our final story comes to us from Bloomberg, where it reports that the Credit Suisse chief compliance officer is set to leave the firm. He was only appointed a little over a year ago in September of 2021. The departure is allegedly not related to the strategic review Credit Suisse is planning to announce this coming week. But anytime Credit Suisse lets a chief compliance officer go, you have to wonder why. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.